everyone? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today we're going to be doing something that I do not have a lot of experience in. We're going to be painting. I have my party car S13 that we've been working on for the past couple weeks here. And I did replace the fenders with some cool Koguchi style fenders, front and rear, that I got from my buddy Tim. Since this car is going to be a party car, a lot of the cars are already painted black, which I'm super happy about. So I decided to save money, and what we're going to do is I'm just going to try and color match the parts that I have that aren't painted with the car already, since it's already black. So save some money, save some time, and you know, it should look pretty decent. And not to mention, it's going to be a car that we're going to be beating up and crashing into, you know, our friends, maybe objects, things like that. So don't really need to put too much money and attention into the paint. So I went and got a bunch of material today, and I'm going to be actually spraying these fenders with spray cans. It is kind of frowned upon with cars, but now there's really good paint and clear coat technology put into cans, and you know, you get away with a pretty decent paint job for half the price as, you know, a traditional paint job. And not to mention, you don't got to worry about it so much because you only spend so much money and when you break it and crash it, stuff like that. So let's get into it. I'll show you the materials I got, and then I'm going to set up and get this thing ready for paint. Very excited. So this is all the supplies that I got today. So considering the fact that I do not feel like painting this stuff in my garage because it's very messy and not much space, I'm going to be building a booth outside using a easy up tent. I do have a lot of plastic that I'm going to lay down. Also got a bunch of other stuff. So I went to Harbor Freight and got these paint stands, like work stands. These were like 20 bucks, super cheap. I got 2 of them and they support 200 pounds, so that's crazy. Got some lights for inside the tent, some fans so we can ventilate the area. This is the stuff that we're going to be using for paint. So a lot of you, if you've ever looked into spraying with spray cans, will probably see this a lot. This is a 2K clear from Spray Max. So this is a really good clear coat that comes in the can. What's different about this than your normal clear coat is that it has hardener in it that's separated from the clear coat itself. So that's what this little red cap is. You put this on the bottom, puncture that, and then a little canister inside the can opens up, which adds the hardener to the clear coat. So this is how you get a really good finish out of the can. This is pretty much the same exact thing that they use with traditional clear coat from a spray gun. And then we went ahead and got some KH3 Nissan Super Black put into aerosol cans. So this is the color that we're going to be putting down on all the parts, and then just clear it with the 2K clear. So you can see I got a good amount of this stuff. Basically 4 cans of paint, 4 cans of clear. We got some wipes so we can clean down the fenders and stuff that we're painting. Tack cloth, and then this is the red scuff pad. So this is really good for scuffing gel coat fiberglass like those fenders. So yeah, that is pretty much all I need to get this done for today. So tallying up all the money spent on the supplies, I'm in for just under like $500. I did not have to buy the Easy Up tent because I already had one. But yeah, I'd say around 500 bucks in what I have right now. And then to just probably have enough paint to spray front and rear fenders, and I have a bumper that I'm going to be spraying. So hopefully I have enough. And 500 bucks, that's pretty cheap. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to start setting up my Easy Up and all the stuff to get a good workspace together. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be prepping all the parts outside of the tent to keep dust down, so that when we go to spray, there's no dust being kicked up or anything, not going to get in the paint. All right, so I got my Easy Up tent up. It is a lot bigger than I thought it was. Yeah, so this would be pretty good. I'm going to line it with plastic around, and then I'll throw the ventilator fans. They're basically just box fans I bought. They're really cheap. Just so that when I'm in here, I'm not, you know, gassing myself out and pass out while I'm painting. So this is the plastic that I have. It is from a paint supply place. This is for painting, and the reason why I say that is because it has a prepped side. If you see this right here where it's got the little logo on it, it actually says this side, spray this side. So what it is kind of treated so that if overspray gets on it, it collects that overspray and keeps it on there, and it won't flake off. So you don't have to worry about overspray collecting on something and then it breaking off, falling in the paint, anything like that. This is also really awesome to get. It's pretty cheap, and it's really awesome to get to cover cars with. So if you have a shop that gets really dusty, buy this stuff, and it's really wide. It's 14 feet wide. So you cover a whole car with it really easy, and I think this is about 350 feet of it, so it's pretty sweet. So actually, before I go ahead and put the plastic up, I decided that I'm going to hang my lights. I'm going to be painting throughout the day with the base, but the clear I'm gonna wait until it gets dark out so it's a little bit cooler, because you run into an issue where it's drying too fast, and then as you're layering it up the piece, it'll start drying before you even lay the next line. So that'll make it look kind of crappy. So I think the base, if I lay it down while it's still warm out, it won't be a big deal, but I definitely want to wait until it's cooler out to do the clear, just so the clear comes out phenomenal, because that's what I really want. So I'm gonna put these lights up. So we got over here our 2 cheap box fans. Like I was saying, these are like, it was kind of like, I think it was like 40 bucks for both of these. And once you're done, you can use them wherever you want. And I'm painting these parts black, so if any paint gets on these, you never see it. So have that all wired in, and then you see the wire going up here, and that's going to my 2 LED lights that I have up here. Should be hooked up. There we go. So as you can see, this will be pretty good to be spraying all day, all night, especially like I was saying, because I want to spray the clear once it gets dark out. It'll get cooler in here, and the fans are going to help a lot with keeping dust out. Unfortunately, there's no way to filter the air that would go through if I was pushing then pulling, so no air will be going in here. I'll be strictly just pulling air out with these fans. That is a tip that Josh Kroll told me. He is my painter and painted both of my race cars. Especially the new S15, which looks really good. So he's been giving me tips today, so big thanks to Josh, and check him out on Instagram at Kroll's Customs. Check that out. Boom! Looks like we're doing some some Walter White stuff in here. So let's check out inside. Now that the inside of here is pretty much done, I'm just going to be putting the equipment in here that we need, just the tables that I got for the parts. And then I'm gonna start prepping the parts outside so that we're not getting any dust in here. All right, but yeah, for the prep work for the fenders, what we're gonna be doing is getting the red pads, they're like the little Scotch-Brite pads. That's the more aggressive one. Since these fenders are fiberglass and they have the gel coat on them, we're just gonna scuff them really good, get a really good surface on them, and then lay base coat down, or some people would do primer. But talking to Josh and, you know, just thinking about how the quality that we really need this to be, we think we'll be just fine without doing primer and just spraying base right on. So yeah, I'm not gonna show you guys me scuffing everything, especially because the garage is a mess and me and Dennis are gonna have at it. But yeah, so we're just gonna start prepping the fenders. I'll probably prep all the fenders, then get in the booth. All right, so it's now nighttime. So it's a lot cooler out, it's about 71 degrees. Unfortunately, the rain, there's a little bit of holes up here, and a little bit of water got in, so we just had to shake off the inside. But if you look in here, it's looking pretty good. The 2 rear over fenders are good to go. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to prep it with just this cleaning solution wipe. We're gonna wipe it down and then wipe it down with a tack cloth. Make sure there's no dust or debris on it, and then we're gonna lay down the base coat. So I'm gonna do a nice easy pass over both of them, let it dry 10 minutes in between, then do another pass. I'll probably do about 3 coats, depending on the coverage, maybe 4, just in case I miss any spots. And then we'll let it dry, and then we'll hit it with the gloss. So yeah, let's get into it. Dennis is gonna film. All right. Oh wow, this is a lot of stuff. Wonder how it dries. So I've actually never used this before, so it's going on like really glossy. So I don't know how thick it is. Is it starting to rain right now? Mother. Oh my goodness, can't get a break. So this is the tack cloth, and we're just gonna go ahead and wipe down the part since they're dry from the prep. They're looking really good. It's like weird. This has like a weird stickiness to it. I just thought it was like a type of cloth that just like was really good at getting debris, but it actually has like, it's almost like waxy. It feels waxy. All right, so let's keep in mind I'm not a professional painter, so I'm gonna do the best I got, but this is our mixed paint that we got. This is KH3, also known as Nissan Super Black. This has pretty much been every single color of car I've ever had. It's just a very deep black. There's no flake in it, no metallic, so it's just basically jet black. So super black. So I'm just gonna go nice even strokes I'll probably go from bottom to top, and then just because of the way that's laid out. But yeah, I'm gonna try and keep the strokes nice and tight, overlapping, and then across the whole thing. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so right off the bat, this nozzle is a little weird, but not too bad for coverage, not horrible. First coat, basically just kind of layering on there, and then as we go, it'll probably get thicker and thicker. But looking pretty good right now. The ventilation in here is pretty decent. There's really not any fog, so that's good. So now I just did the first coat of the base. Came out pretty all right. You know, it never looks perfect on the first one, so I'm being very patient and I don't want to mess up. So I'm letting it dry at least 10 minutes in between coats. I'll show you guys once I'm done coating all the base coat on before it's ready for clear coat. So I did a bunch of base coats. You can see there's like a weird little spot right there. I'm not too worried about it. It's like kind of just more clear. I'm wondering if when I put clear over it, it'll kind of disappear, but like I said, we're not going for a super professional job here, just something that looks good when it's all bolted back up to the car. The pre-mixed cans that I got, I don't really like the nozzle on them too much. They kind of like get like gunked up even with me wiping them after a couple passes, and there's been a couple spots where it kind of splattered the paint. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do another coat. This will be 4 coats now. I actually went through going through all the paint that I have, so maybe I'll go back tomorrow and see if they can put more paint in each can. Just feels like they're running out way too fast. But I put one of the clear coat nozzles on one of these cans, and I did a test spray, and I actually like the nozzle a lot more. So I'm actually gonna I'm gonna do a last coat, final coat on these both these fenders, and I don't have any more paint, so I'm gonna do a coat, see how they look, and then hit them with the clear. Hopefully after the clear they're gonna look really good. So I'll show you what they look like right now. So as you can see, they look like a little blotchy. I don't know if that's just from the pressure coming out of the can or if it's still drying, but some spots looks good, some spots, you know, could be better. So I'm gonna do another coat, see how they come out. Well, I went ahead and sprayed them again with the different tip. I liked it a little bit more. It still looks a little blotchy. It doesn't really look very streaky. It just looks kind of blotchy. So now I'm completely out of paint. So the only thing I can do now is throw the 2K clear on and hope for the best. Worst case scenario, I can redo it. It's not the end of the world. I also have other parts, and this is a learning experience. So I'm learning from this, but definitely keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that once we hit it with the clear, it'll look a lot better. But I guess there's only one way to find out. All right, so I just did second coat of the clear. For some reason, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Shook it really good when I broke the center for the hardener inside the can. So the 2 components of the 2K clear should be good, but for some reason it's sprayed out kind of foggy, like white. It's the right clear. There's no primer in or anything like that, so I don't know why it's spraying out so like foggy, but I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit and hopefully it changes what it looks like. But if not, I feel like it just wasted a lot of time. Also, there's a lot of dirt in the paint, so I mean, again, really not professional, but I just wanted it to look the same color, so I'm not too worried about it. So you can clearly see that's black. That literally looks like I sprayed primer on it. Same with this side in the same spot. So I really don't know what's wrong. I'm pretty disappointed, so I'll let it sit for a while. Okay, good news. That little foggy stuff is going away. So I'm guessing as it's curing or drying, the fogginess is going away and it's leaving behind a nice clear. So I don't know if that's just the way that I'm spraying it, it's not proper, or something along those lines, but I think we're gonna be okay. I'm just gonna try and make it as glossy as possible. I'm going through a lot of material. This is so far costing me, I'd say it's probably 250 bucks just alone, and I'm not even done yet with these two rear over fenders. They are pretty big, so it's not the end of the world. The only thing is, I don't know, the people I bought the 2K clear from today, they only had one can left after I bought all the ones that they had, so if anything, I'll have to store these away and just wait until I get more 2K clear and more paint mixed, and then we'll finish it up. So that's it for the rear overs. I think they're gonna look a lot better once I cut into them and polish them a little bit. Just gonna give them more time to either cure and dry, you know, and then I'm gonna go ahead and swap over to the front fenders, get those finished up, and then the rear bumper, and then that's pretty much it. That's all I need to color match. And then the motor should be going in this weekend, so very excited about that too. All right, everybody, well, we are on day 2 of my little paint project here. I have one of my over fenders outside. I was taking a look at it, all that fogginess went away, but there is a bunch of orange peel. So I am going to be like wet sanding and then buffing this. So I did do a test patch of buffing it after I did a couple passes with some, I think I did 1500 grit and then 2000 grit wet sand, and then just hit it with a nice cutting compound and a DA. An actual like polisher, like buffer, would probably be a little bit better, but this is actually coming out pretty good, so let's take a look. So if you see right here, that's pretty good. It's pretty good gloss right there. You're not really seeing a lot of imperfections. You can see just a little here. But yeah, this was just a test patch that I did. So you can see right there, see right in the middle, it looks really good. It is wavy just because it's fiberglass. If you don't want fiberglass to be wavy, you do have to like block sand the whole thing. I wasn't gonna do that. And I did a little bit of a test up here too, and that came out really good. I was testing out different methods for what's actually working with this paint, just because, you know, there's so much mixed information on how to like properly do this. So I figured best way would be for me to just try it and see how I do on my own. I did get some tips from Josh again, so thanks Josh. But while that's chilling here, I'm actually just did this to test it out and see if it'd be worth it just going over it and sanding it, or if I had to like repaint or anything like that. But we're moving on to the front fenders now. So I have them all prepped, ready to go. I just have to wipe them down and then tack cloth them. There was a good amount of dust that was getting on the parts last night, so what I did was a couple of my buddies told me to wet the ground, so try and keep the dust down. Also, a lot of people would tell me to put stuff down on the floor because people were scared I was going to ruin my driveway. We do have nice pavers right here, but it is warm enough in here that paint is like drying before it even touches the ground, and the parts are up in the air, so no overspray is really getting on the floor, especially since now that it's wet, it won't really be an issue. So mainly just worried about dust. I'm hoping for a better turnout for the front fender, so it's less work to make them look as good as I'm gonna have to work to make the rear over fenders look good. Also, I didn't think I was gonna go through so much paint doing these rear over fenders, so this morning I actually had to go back over to the guys that I got the paint stuff from. I was worried they weren't gonna have enough that 2K clear, but they actually had like a whole nother box, so it worked out. All right, so it is a little bit later in the day. I let the paint on here sit for a while because what I want to do is, now that it's dry, I'm not going to mess it up by touching it. I'm going to hit it with tack cloth again. Just because when I did the overs yesterday, I seen a lot of stuff got under the paint. There's probably still going to be stuff that gets in this paint here, just because we're not in a perfect paint booth. So, but I definitely think this will help a little bit. And I've been cutting and polishing all day on the over fender, still trying to find out what works best. Running into a couple issues here and there, but a lot of the imperfections are out, and just working on getting that really high gloss finish. So yeah, let me just hit this with the tack cloth, and then I'm going to be spraying the first coat of the clear. I just finished up spraying the 3 coats of 2K clear not too long ago, and they're drying up here. I'll show you guys what they look like, and then we'll probably be done for today and then into tomorrow. So we're going on 3 days with this little project here. So as you can see, they're looking really good. There's a bunch of flies in here, so really hoping they're not going in there. You can see the impurities on the top, but once I start cutting into them, those impurities go away, which is really awesome. But I got the black to lay really nice on this one. I think it's just because the fenders are standing upward. It's a lot easier to spray them. Yeah, wow. That gloss is really good. Now I wish the rear over fenders came out like this, because I've been wrestling with them all day trying to get them to look good. So if anything, I'll buy more clear. I'll do another spray of clear on the over fenders. But all in all, very hyped on how this is turning out and super excited to see the car all one color. So yeah, on to tomorrow. So it is now day 3 of my painting project, and I believe I cracked the code on how to get the paint nice and glossy. Alright guys, since I was saying I kind of figured out how to polish them properly to get a good finish out of the paint. One that really makes it look like this did not get painted by a spray can. It's very awesome. I'm kind of just going to go through the steps really quick with you. I'm going to save you the time of watching me wax on, wax off, and do all this stuff, but I'm going to tell you what you can do if you want to do the same thing. Alright, so before we got into the cutting and compounding, what I did was I wet sanded all the parts to try and get all the little imperfections out. It definitely helped a lot. I did 1000 grit all over it. You probably only need to do 1000 grit if you do have a lot of imperfections. That's what I found, because I started to do it with 1500 then 2000, and I saw that it wasn't really enough, so I did 1000, 1500, then 2000. So I went over the part with each grade and then made sure it was nice and clean in between. Used some soapy water just in case there's any dirt, anything like that. Constantly adding water to the panels, and it seemed to work out. So I'm going to show you what it looked like after I was done doing the wet sanding. So as you can see, it's not perfect. There's still a little bit of imperfections in here, but once this is all polished, it should be nice and shiny. At least that's what I found with the over fenders. So yeah, this is 1500, then 2000. No, this was 1000, and then 1500, and then 2000, all over the whole panel. So this is pretty much what you'd be looking for, and it's really smooth too, like super smooth. So I found when they're about at this stage, it's good enough for me to start cutting into it and start polishing. So I'll bring you over. All right, so now I'm going to show you what it looked like when I used the cutting compound. Meguiar's mirror glaze, yeah, mirror glaze ultra cutting compound. This is the heaviest cut that they have, just because, you know, I did put a lot of clear coat on these, so I wasn't too scared about it, you know, coming off. And this is the over fender that I just did the cutting compound on. So as you can see, it's already looking really nice, like nice shine in it. But you see there's like if you look where the light's hitting, you can see very fine little scratches. So this definitely cuts into the clear coat and gives us a nice surface before polish. And then once you're done with that, I went and got ultra finishing polish from Meguiar's as well. And this, I basically did the same way that I cut into it with the cutting compound, just with polish instead. The only difference is when you're cutting into it with the cutting compound, I use this correction pad on my DA, and then when we go into polishing, I use a finishing pad on the DA. So that's the two differences that I found to work really good. Now I'm going to show you the over fender that I polished. So this is the actual finish of the paint. So as you can see, it's really nice and shiny. Really not many imperfections at all. There are some spots where there still is a little bit of orange peel at the top here, but you can barely see it. And that polish, you can see there's still a little bit of scratches in it, but I think it could just be from the rags I was using. But yeah, I'm super happy with this finish, and this is what's gonna go in the car. Also, after I was done polishing it, I just threw some regular wax and then just wiped it off with a rag, just so put a little bit of extra protection on there while it's sitting around in the shop before it goes on the car. I hope you guys learned a lot from me doing this. This is the first time I've ever tried to do anything like this, so I'm super, super happy with the finish. I feel like if you really want to save money on a paint job and you're not painting a whole car, you could even do this on your normal car, like regular everyday car, because the finish is that good. So I'm super happy to have this finish on a car that I really don't have to care too much about, but it still looks really good. Also, I wanted to learn how to do this very well, so I really put the time and effort in. But if you have any questions for how I did this and I left it out of the video, all you gotta do is ask me in the comments below. If you liked this video and you felt like you learned a lot from this, definitely hit that like button, and I'm sure I'll be doing more videos like this in the future, just because I'm currently still working on this car. So why don't you go ahead and subscribe to the channel as well, and you could even hit the bell notification so you know exactly when I post a video and you can learn yourself some more stuff. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to follow me on Instagram, Mike Power Drift, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.